Welcome to the Nerdy Jock podcast, where we're going to be talking about all the things that we're watching right now that aren't Dragon Ball.
Yeah, exactly. So we are concurrently watching right now. This will be released a couple days later, but we just started Dragon Ball Daima.
That's right.
One of our favorite series now. We're big Dragon Ball Z fans. That's where we started. That's where we got our launch into anime, and that's where it continues. So,
and we're so excited to go on this journey because so far the show looks very promising. Awesome. It's gonna be a really fun adventure. But we watch other stuff too.
Yeah, we watch other stuff too. So at all times, I don't know about you, DK, but I like to watch maybe one or two, maybe three series at a time.
I'm the same way.
I'll digest them. So I know you're watching Ranma 1/2, the remake on Netflix.
Yes, I am watching Ranma 1/2, the remake on Netflix. There's been one episode released at the time of this record, maybe a two that I haven't seen. Done by Mappa,
right?
Done by Mappa, which I was excited to see, a very pastel art style. Yeah. And let me just say, I don't mean to run over this.
No, go for it.
Ranma 1/2, one of my favorite series of all time. I love the original series. I've rewatched it. I don't even know how many times. It's so funny. It's so good.
Great comedy.
Nothing will ever replace it. That said, the job that they are doing on this one is phenomenal. Dang. The fights have never looked better.
Really?
Oh my God, the battle animation is so good. They brought back so much of the original cast. I mean, the one gripe that a lot of people have is that Japanese broadcast standards have changed, so now the nudity is kind of censored.
Right.
Or whatever, but it's just buy the Blu-ray, it will be uncensored on the Blu-ray, But anyways, enough about the nudity. The show is really good so far. The animation is incredible. The fighting is great. I'm really excited to see where it goes, and I hope that they actually finish it because, as all of you know who've watched the original series, they never actually finished it.
Right.
Yeah, they never finished the manga, so you don't get to see the wedding at the end and all that stuff. Well, spoiler, but...
Well, tell me, why didn't they finish it?
I don't know. I don't know the history of...
I mean, I know Rumiko Takahashi. She's still alive. I mean, she's still working.
Yeah. I mean, Urusei Yatsura just got a remake. Inuyasha. I mean, she's had the most
concurrent
hits of any mangaka ever.
Right.
I mean, obviously Toriyama had Dr. Slump, which was the biggest, and then he had Dragon Ball, which was the biggest.
Right.
But that was it. That's all he had. Rumiko Takahashi, very impressive career. Urusei Yatsura, the freaking Ranma 1/2, Inuyasha, the mermaid movie that I remember advertisements for at the beginning of certain anime. I mean, she just has so much in her catalog.
She has a lot going on, and if something's ending, there's a new one starting with her. So she's fantastic. But I'm actually so stoked to see Ranma 1/2, the new version. I haven't seen it. I grew up just like you watching as a boy and was so excited, and it was so funny to me. Ranma 1/2 is a lot of really great comedy. I mean, it's a great, really fun show, very creative, very innovative, very imaginative.
Right.
I mean, it goes on and on. So
the humor is really great too. You can tell. I'm a big fan of Mole Tao, comedy from Hong Kong, Stephen Chow, Wong Jing, stuff like that. And there is a lot of that kind of comedy, I feel in Ranma 1/2, the sort of slapstick, sort of nonsensical gags or whatever, or just all the random excuses that they find to have somebody throw cold water out of a window when Ranma really needs to be a boy in that moment. It's just good stuff. But I mean, enough about Ranma, because you are watching a show that actually has my name in it twice.
Isn't that right? Dandadan.
Yeah.
So we're both started. You saw episode 1, right?
I did. I've seen episode 1 and 2.
Okay, yeah. I just finished episode 2 this morning as well before I watched Dragon Ball Daima. So Dandadan, me and Dan heard from another friend of ours. Shout out to Matt. He was like, "Hey, you guys got to check this out. It is crazy. It is sick. It slaps," as he would say. These young cats. I was like, "Okay." I was like, "We'll check it out." So, quick breakdown. If you haven't watched it yet, I would say go ahead and start watching. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's on Crunchyroll streaming right now. Episode 2 just aired a couple days ago. Dandadan is basically about this UFO otaku named Ken. They just call him Otakon or something like that. And Momo is this really interesting character, by the way, because usually there's really cliched female characters, especially in high school.
Right.
And she's definitely not that. I mean, we see Momo in episode 1. She's literally getting physically abused by her boyfriend. Yeah. He's beating the shit out of her. And
she's like a low status tsundere, which is never the case. She is tsundere, but she's low status, but she's also like sympathetic.
Yeah.
Like when she hurts people's feelings, she feels bad and she apologizes.
Yeah, so you get this really interesting character because in a lot of animes like that, it's not so common to have a girl who's gonna get abused, talk crap, but still take the abuse because she wants to be in a relationship with this guy.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's a very interesting take. Usually be like, oh, screw you, I'm done. And she was like, no, and she was kind of crawling back to him too, which is like, I was like, oh, don't do that. But that's what made it really interesting. And that was like the opening 5 minutes of the show. So you got a really good representation of Momo and where she is emotionally and the kind of character she is. And then she meets our guy Ken. I'll just call him Ken because I can't pronounce his other name.
Kentaku or something? Or
yeah. Well, it's the same name. I don't know if there is a real Ken Takakaru or something Takakaru, who Momo says she wants to find a guy talking to her classmate.
Right. It's like her idol, yeah.
Her idol. And like this guy is total, like, I guess, I wouldn't say he's a total nerd, kind of an outcast guy. This is very, very common in anime.
He reads a paranormal magazine, like they're still in print in this world. He reads them, but they have contemporaneous sort of like actual UFO things in them, like the Navy footage and stuff like that, like the Tic Tac and all that stuff, and so he's really into it. But she's really into ghosts because her grandma's a medium.
Yeah, so she has some spiritual background as well, and she's into ghosts.
Right,
she believes spirits,
and she doesn't believe in UFOs, and he doesn't believe in ghosts.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because it is a very X-File-ish kind of idea for the genre for the show, which is great because it's like you got your Mulder and Scully, except they both believe in crazy things, right?
Yeah.
So essentially, what happens is they have a meeting, and then she confronts him about his magazine or something like that. She protects him from bullies in the class. And they basically get into a quick argument, and they decide, like, she's like, you're a spiritualist, you like ghosts, you believe in ghosts. He's like, that's ridiculous. He's like, well, you believe in UFOs. So they both decide to cross places and go to where there's supposed to be a haunted spirit ghost tunnel, and then a haunted hospital / school, or like one of those old abandoned classrooms you'll see, or schools you'll see in anime. And so Momo goes to the school where there's supposed to be UFOs, and Ken goes to the tunnel where there's supposed to be a cursed spirit. Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
And it turns out, guess what? They were both right.
Yeah, they're both right. Yeah. Ken gets possessed by Turbo Granny.
Turbo Granny. I was like, this episode is random as hell, by the way, but it's so cool.
Who's like an old woman who just keeps saying, like, I want to gobble your weenie.
I want to gobble your weenie.
I was like, what the hell? I was like, you're a creepy old ass horny grandma. And
then she gets an ability too from the UFO hotspot. Yeah.
Yeah. So then the UFO guys, they're creepy. Yeah. This warning. This episode is a little bit pervy at parts, but it's a pretty good show.
It's kind of like the Fully Cooley of 2024, I would say. Yeah.
But once you get past that, it does kind of like narrow it down because she gets abducted by UFOs and they want to impregnate her and make her into whatever their species are. And then, somehow Ken comes to the cell phone and in his curse form. So he gets cursed. He gets cursed by Turbo Granny. She catches him because she's fast as hell, hence the name Turbo. And then they destroy the alien spaceship and they land back on Earth on episode 1. And that was basically it. You're like, wow, what the hell is this? Now, a couple things we want to touch on real quick before we go any deeper, because we're not going to go too deep anyway, but the animation, it's different.
It's very different, but very beautiful.
It's good. It's beautiful. It's different, but it's unique and it's enjoyable. It's pleasant to watch on the eyes.
Right.
There's nothing distracting about it that's like too much to take or annoying or like too simplified. It's a good blend. There's some very simple animation scenes, and there's some very complex, beautiful animation scenes, and the music.
Yeah.
The score. The music in this show is superb. I mean, I really should have done some research before we did this and just found out who does the score and who does the sound. I'll give you guys a recap in the notes on YouTube. So watch us on YouTube and I'll let you know who did it. But the music is great. I mean, it's
phenomenal.
It's like, so I'm going to have to get the soundtrack. I haven't bought an anime soundtrack in decades, but like I might have to get the Dandadan soundtrack.
Just the opening. I never thought I would like hearing my name so much, but yeah, just that opening song was so cool. I was like, oh man, this is it. And I love the ending theme too, where you see the cat just kind of like doing all the different things. Like it's just a phenomenal show. It's really, really good. He already said like it's very, very unique animation. It is kind of like I'm stealing this from my buddy Justin, who said it's kind of like if Fully Cooley and Mob Psycho 100 had a baby. Yeah. That's kind of what this show is like. But yeah, really good show so far.
Yeah, and I'm also watching Psycho Pass, by the way. So I'm
Nice.
I'm on
Well,
Psycho
welcome
Pass.
to the club.
Well, Neon Genesis says, if you guys watch our pod or listen to our pod, you know Neon Genesis Evangelion is my favorite of all time, and we will do a pod.
We will.
It's going to be.
We're gonna have to.
But it's going to be like a college dissertation. It's going to be like the Wikipedia level good. Like
I'm taking the dogi off. I'm putting on a lab coat.
I'm putting a lab coat. We're going to have diagrams. This is going to be the best show we've ever done. I promise you. I will spend all weekless hours making sure it's fantastic for you guys. You'll be able to screen it in colleges learning about screenwriting.
The curse of the pod.
Yeah.
We seldom get through an episode where we don't bring up Evangelion and our promise to eventually do like a mega pod about Evangelion.
We will. I assure you that.
But how are you liking Psycho Pass? Because that's one of my favorite shows. I love it.
Oh yeah, on Dandadan episode 2, we'll cover that next time.
It's good. Watch the first 2 episodes. We'll talk about it more. But yeah.
Psycho Pass. I'm on season 1 Psycho Pass episode 13 or 14. This is when it gets good. So 11, it really starts taking a turn. The first 10 or so, you just you get to know the characters and basically the plot of the story. Where there is a lot of psychology in it. That's why I was interested and intrigued by it. A little bit. They go deep into serial killers. It's very much like a serial killer / psycho profiler show, but like in an anime.
Yeah.
They basically in this future world, there's a system. I can't remember the name of the system. The Sybil system actually, and what it does is it can like instantly evaluate your psych level or like your emotional level of disturbed.
Right.
So if you're like under 100, you're in a safe level of like emotional. You're emotionally competent and you're safe and not a threat to anyone else or yourself.
Right.
But once you start getting over 100, that could happen instantly. You could be triggered. You could get in a car wreck. Anything in the world that could negatively affect you emotionally increases your psychopath level or your level.
Yeah.
And so once you get up to 100s, 200, 300, they have the law, and the new Tokyo law here states that you can be just basically killed on sight.
Right.
If you're like in the 150s, the 200s, they'll put you into a rehabilitation, like a mental health center, where you're going to work on yourself and eventually, hopefully, become an officer or help out the officers in this division that have lower psychopath levels. I mean, if this doesn't make sense to you guys, just watch it.
It's kind of like Minority Report, except instead of like future crimes, it's like present emotional state. It's like the more psycho you are, it's like a social credit system with punitive consequences, like criminal punitive consequences.
Yeah.
Very classic like themes going on with like Production IG. I mean, obviously they did Ghost in the Shell, which was very different from the manga and like really explored deeply like the idea of, what does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to have a soul? And all that stuff. And like this show kind of does that same thing, but it's also like, what does it mean to be like mentally healthy?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Because obviously like some of the heroes are quote unquote like psychopaths.
But they're on a total level. But like it's really interesting because it's like there are stakes.
Yeah.
It's like if you react too emotionally to one situation, it might push you past your level, and you might become a criminal without knowing it.
Right.
So you could be an officer of the law and you'd be turned, and then they could be coming after you. And once you're like to 250, 300, they have these guns that will read your psych level, and then if you're over a level, it'll kill you instantly on sight. It just obliterate you. So it adds an extra level of kind of. It's just exciting. It's just really an interesting show, and we just
very tense, but also very, very disturbing, serial killer-esque like murders going on.
So this is what kind of actually drew me to this, because I'm not a big like a true crime guy, but I do like the Manhunter on
Fincher stuff.
Yeah, Fincher, like that kind of. I do like the watch some serial killer stuff every now and then. I'm like, I don't know if I could get into an anime. I mean, they have like what Paprika, or was it Blue? Something Blue, not Paprika.
Oh, not Paprika. That's like the Inception, the inspiration by Satoshi Kon. Wait, what was it? Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue.
Yeah, Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue is like in the same genre for sure.
For sure.
This is definitely like probably got influence from Perfect Blue, which is about a serial killer and just an idol and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But this is really cool because the bad guys are interesting characters, and when you get these serial killer psychopathic characters that they're actually starting to go in deeper detail, because they used to have the first 10 episodes, and I'm just rambling here, were episodes like Villains of the Week. just like, oh, this guy has a bad plot past, like doing some heavy plot lifting for the first 10 episodes.
Just like building the characters, but like you said, like villain of the week. But
now they released this Sephiroth like character, this guy who is a psychopath, but he doesn't read as a psychopath.
Right. Yeah. He's got like a perfect like reading, and he also uses people whose readings don't really spike when they do psychopathic stuff either. So it's like it's a little crack in the system.
So yeah, that's where I just got. They just had this big maze fight scene where the heroes had to escape barely with their lives, and it really just set up the rest of the series. So I'm stoked. I'm really stoked. I'm actually really enjoying it, and that's when I started to like it. It took me about 2 months to get to 11. I would just like one episode, a week later, one episode. Like I was not engaged, but now I'm kind of like, okay, let's go.
For sure. And in addition to Ranma and Daima and all that, I'm watching Blue Lock Season 2, which I can't recommend enough. If you haven't seen Blue Lock, I know you've got a lot on your plate, but it's my favorite sports anime in years, maybe even my favorite like shonen manga / anime in general. The first season was just a nonstop thrill ride, and I didn't think I was going to like it because it's soccer themed. Like the whole point of it is it's like a battle royale, but it's soccer, and the stakes are, well, if you lose in Blue Lock, you never get to play soccer again. And it's like, who cares? But no, the show does such a good job at making you care about not only the stakes of that, but also each of the characters and all of their little superpowers and nuances and what they bring to the game. And it's like one of those rare stories, because I'm concurrent in the manga right now, where somehow it just keeps getting better and better.
Really?
And you keep hitting these points where you're like, I don't know how this could get any better than this. And then it keeps surpassing that level. Yeah. Which like Hajime no Ippo has done that several times as well. It's my favorite manga of all time. If you're not reading, you should be. But yeah, Blue Lock is like the modern Ippo in that sense, where it's like it just keeps scaling, keeps getting better. They keep raising the stakes, keep shattering the limitations that they put on the characters.
Awesome.
I just can't say enough. Like that's all the plot you need to know. Yeah. It's battle royale with soccer, but it's amazing storytelling. So good. Check it out. Season 2 is running right now.
I saw the trailer just the other day on X / Twitter. Yeah, love it. Love the platform. I saw it on there, and the animation looks fantastic.
Plug in X. Yeah. It's like, love it. Love the platform.
Love the platform. Use it all the time. No, Blue Lock looks really cool. And I used to play soccer. I'll be real with you. I'm not a big anime. I don't like sports animes really. I'll just rather watch the real thing. I like mine more fantastical.
For sure.
But from this one, I'm actually intrigued to check it out.
Oh, it's not like real soccer at all. It's like, I wish that soccer was like this. Yeah, okay. And it's like, I even made a comment because I was around a lot of people who were watching soccer for a period of time. And after watching Blue Lock, I was like, and this pissed everybody off who liked soccer. I was like, the problem with soccer is I feel like there's just too many people on the field at one time. Like it creates a traffic jam. Well, it's like people are sprinting and then they stop because there's a wall of 3 people in front of them. If you just have the amount of people on the field, like the way that basketball has like 3-on-3 leagues now, it's like it would just be nonstop fast-paced action.
I love basketball, so maybe Slam Dunk is probably the anime for me.
Slam Dunk is amazing. Yeah. I mean, Takahiko Inoue, the guy who did it, he also did Vagabond, the adaptation of the Musashi story by Eiji Yoshikawa. Yeah, All right. Slam Dunk's great. You would love it.
I think I would.
You would absolutely love it. It's a total fish out of water thing too, because it's like a bully who like becomes a basketball player so he can get the attention of a girl. It's so fun.
Nothing like me, Dan.
No, not like you, but
I'm just kidding.
But I feel like you would like the story.
If it's reminiscent of Toto, I'm in. JJK.
There are some Toto vibes for sure.
Hey, give me Toto vibes. I'm gonna ride or die for that bro for life. But one last thing, I just saw on Crunchyroll today when I was checking it out. No free ads. We'd love an ad if you want to sponsor us. We'll be glad for that.
we're paid by Crunchyroll to make these things. We actually hate anime.
No, that's kidding. But on a side note, I just saw Kenshin season 2 is out now. Yes.
What?
Yes.
I didn't even know this.
So that's what I was going to tell you today. I wanted to give you a live reaction. I saw this morning the whole season, 20 episode Kabuya incident arc.
Oh, Kyoto
arc. Incident arc.
It's all out?
It's all out. All of it.
All of it?
All of it.
They're not going week by week?
All of it.
Dude, you just ruined my weekend. Yeah. Like the Shishio arc is, I've talked about it on the pod. It's like one of my favorite arcs in anime manga of all time. What the hell?
So they the trailer was launched like 2 weeks ago, and it just started this week. And I was like, okay, is it only one episode? And then I pressed down, and it showed all episodes
for season 2.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Because it was its own thing. It wasn't like Ranma. It was its own show.
Right.
Like,
because the first season was week to week. So. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
If he's wrong, some of you are laughing right now, and some of you are laughing at me because I mean, like, I'm fine if it's week to week. I mean,
Kenshin's his favorite of like all time. One of them.
One of them for sure. Yeah, I love Kenshin.
And
so
I've seen the original Kenshin. I loved it, and I'm gonna watch the new one too, probably.
It's good. Also, Blue Lock and Kenshin share a common voice actor. Chigiri from Blue Lock is the new voice of Kenshin in Kenshin.
Yeah. Awesome.
So there you go. But anyways, that's what we're watching. I'm also this is an anime, but I finally started watching Kingdom on Netflix because I like Korean shows too, and if you like Game of Thrones, you should absolutely watch Kingdom. If you were disappointed by how Game of Thrones ended, you should absolutely watch Kingdom.
Okay.
In general, if you're anybody in the world, if you're a grandma, if you're a dog, if you're a goldfish, you should watch Kingdom. It's a phenomenal show. I'm way late to the party. I'm like 3 or 4 years late to it, but man, am I into it. It's so good.
My list of shows I need to watch is extensive.
Right.
But I'll try to catch that too.
And you guys too. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to watch us talk about the shows that we're watching.
And let us know what you're watching and what we should watch and add to our pod too.
Yeah, I mean, everybody on the internet right now is talking about what a like crazy based season this is for anime right now. Right. And if there's something else, like a blind spot that we have, something that we're not watching, like please let us know, because I mean, we have infinite time here in this void.
We can definitely cover it. You know, we're gonna do our Dragon Ball Daima exclusive pod, and we're gonna keep doing this pod on the side.
Right.
So we're gonna keep you guys posted every week, what we're watching, how we're feeling, and what's coming up next in the world of anime.
If you're not subscribed already, please smash the subscribe button. Please like this video. If you didn't like it, you know, tell us why you didn't like it. We actually respond to comments.
We love you guys. We'll comment back and subscribe, share it with your friends, and we'll see you next time on the Nerdy Jock Media Presents Anime Podcast. All right.
Boom.